What's happening, everybody? All right, so in this installment of What Is He Up To in the Shop today, I am cleaning this carburetor out of a Honda lawnmower. And what has happened is this ethanol fuel that we have, the E10, the 10% ethanol fuel, if you leave this stuff sit in one of these smaller engines with one of these carbureted type fuel systems, this is what can happen. This greenish, yellowish sediment starts to form. And that black stuff down there, yeah, that's also sediment. That's not a shadow. This is what ends up coating the insides of your main jet, which you can now see through, and your emulsion tube here, same idea. You can see through it now, but you also have these itty bitty, if you can see them, little bitty holes, this will focus, that also get clogged up, that need to get cleaned out. So anyway, I'm going through and cleaning this thing. I figured I'd give you guys a bit of a PSA. If you guys are not draining your bowls at the end of the season, you might want to look into that. Any kind of a power sports application, any type of a lawnmower type of a situation, if you're not running straight gasoline and you're stuck using a 10 or a 15% ethanol blend, this is what you have to look forward to, cleaning up these parts. So when you find yourself in that position, this is what you're going to need. This is just a wire brush, and it's brass, not the steel. The reason for that is that your main jet and your emulsion tube are both brass. So if you use another type of a material like a steel wire or something like that, you can actually gall and scratch these things up. So the most aggressive would be the actual copper or brass, whatever that stuff is. Gold looking stuff, y'all. Anyway, no, the copper brushes. Also, the big issue that you may have when you're doing one of these cleanups is when you remove that main jet, this thing is allergic to focusing, you got to be careful. This thing is going to have a flathead type of a top to it, but you got to make sure that you use, really, you shouldn't even be using a screwdriver, but this is all I had on site. It's probably all you're going to have too. Make sure that this thing is seated all the way down. This is the smaller, kind of medium-sized screwdriver to fit down in the hole. Don't use anything smaller than this, thinking you're going to be able to pop this main jet out. What's going to happen is you're going to gall the top of the thing. So anyway, just a bit of a top tip. That means that thing will probably never come out of there if you screw it up like that. So anyway, just again, a bit of a top tip for you guys. I'm going to get this thing put back together, and hopefully this thing will fire right up. The symptom that this thing had was that it will fire, but then immediately die. And so it's like it's getting fuel initially, and then it just starves itself all the way through. So kind of an odd set of circumstances here with everything being clogged, but just a dribble enough fuel to get into the intake manifold to allow the thing to fire, but it just won't keep feeding it fuel. So anyway, that's the reason for all of this. Hopefully that helps you out. And that's a wrap. Adios.